Hello and welcome back to another episode of my MotoGP 22 career mode, and today we're here for the 5th round of our MotoGP season at the French Grand Prix. Now if you haven't seen the last episode, I do recommend you go check that one out because there was a really good battle at the Spanish Grand Prix, and I'm going to talk about the outcome, so if you don't want it spoiled, do go and check out the previous episode. But of course, we had a great last lap battle with our teammate Alex Marquez. Unfortunately, he came out on top and we weren't able to surpass him. But of course, it still was a great weekend because of 1-2 for the team. That's always fantastic. And of course, we picked up 20 priceless championship points, which is great because the last couple of races for us hadn't been too good, so it was good to bounce back with a podium at Jerez. Now, I'm not sure how this weekend's going to go, if I'm honest. It does depend heavily on the weather. If it's dry, I think we should dominate because the AI are very, very poor at Le Mans. They brake so early for some of the corners that they give up seconds a lap. I remember back in Moto 3, I just cleared off. Moto 2, it was wet. Of course, I don't know what the conditions are going to be this weekend. But if it's dry, I think we should have this one in the bag. If the whole weekend's dry, I might start from the back of the grid just to make the race a bit more interesting because otherwise I think we will just clear off from the front. Also worth noting, we have put on that frame upgrade now on the headquarters. I did say I'd do that at the end of the last episode, and I have done that because it's going to be 5 weeks till we get that component. Without any further ado now then, we'll head into the French Grand Prix. I'm hoping it's a dry weekend because I just don't like riding in the rain in this game, and if it is, let's see how the pace is. So surprisingly then, I'm actually not top of this session, so once again my assumptions are completely wrong. It just seems like everything that applied to Moto 2 and Moto 3 just doesn't apply to MotoGP, which is so strange because usually in the other games it's always been the same. If they're weak at one track in one class, they're weak at that track in another. And even in the 2009 class, they're weak at this circuit as well, because I remember when I did the Le Mans episode of that, I was miles quicker. Like, I did the objective that I was supposed to do within like half a lap and started making up my own, if you do remember that. So yeah, it's a bit of a surprise, but Fabio Quartararo then is top. I'm 1.5 tenths behind him in second position. Alex Marquez once again up there in third place. I really don't know what's happening with the AI performance because Bagnaia is down in fourth. That's probably about right, but I don't know where Bezzecchi is because Bezzecchi is supposed to be one of the best riders in this pack now, and he's down in 21st place. And Jack Miller's 22nd, and again, it's supposed to be another fairly competitive rider. So yeah, I think the AI performance is just so close that you do get these random results, so fair enough. A little bit weird that Fabio Quartararo is now top 2 FP3s in a row. Maybe that's a little bit of game scripting behind the scenes, I'm not too sure. But we will head into qualifying now then. We should go straight into Q2. I was thinking that it was going to be an easy pole position if it's dry, but to be honest, it doesn't look that way now. It's quite possible that we still get pole because we're not that far off, and perhaps with the soft tyres I can make a step, but the AI's pace does not seem as bad as I thought it was going to be. Well, I'll tell you what, we're not going through to Q2 actually. It seems on the simulated times, they are a lot faster, and Bezzecchi is top, you can see from Bagnaia, which is more what I expected, and you can see that I'm in 12th place, so actually, we're going through Q1 at a track where I thought we'd dominate. This game just gets weirder and weirder. So we got through that session pretty easily, to be honest. I didn't think it's worth actually including it in the video. We just did one lap on a set of soft tyres. But actually, it's probably going to help me a little bit because I've had a little practice at qualifying now with a set of softs, and I do know that they last till the end of the session. With myself and Brad Binder then coming through Q1, we have got plenty of sets of soft tyres. I think I did a 1 minute 30.8 in that session, so if we can aim to do something similar in this one, that probably should put us in a good position in terms of lap time, because we had about 6-7 tenths over the rest of the field. And generally, Q1 and Q2 times actually aren't that different, mainly just because of how they simulate. Usually Q1 and Q2 times aren't too dissimilar. So we'll head out onto the track for a flying lap here. Obviously, like I said, I've got a little bit of practice in now, so I'm actually feeling quite confident. The bike's feeling really good on all compounds of tyre. Obviously it felt good in practice, but it's feeling really good on the softs here in qualifying as well, so I'm kind of looking forward to pushing this one. So here we are then, in behind Oliveira, coming up towards the line. What's this first lap going to be? 1 minute 30.8 once again, so that seems to be my qualifying time. Now to be honest, it was a bit scrappy, so I actually might go for another one just to secure it. So then, at the end of the session, that time actually was good enough by quite a way as well. Half a second clear of Francesco Bagnaia in second place, Marco Bezzecchi in third, Alex Marquez in fourth position. So once again, doing a phenomenal job there in fourth place. Brad Binder in fifth, Enea Bastianini sixth, Jorge Martin seventh, Aleix Spargo eighth, Luca Rini ninth, Miguel Oliveira in 10th, 11th for Quartararo, and 12th for Maverick Viñales. Now, to be honest, I'm not really sure how this race is going to go because the weekend has been a bit strange in general. Obviously, I was a bit slower than I thought. Well, in fact, I was a lot slower than I thought it would be free practice because I didn't even get through into qualifying 2 straight away. Qualifying was then more what I expected, but the gap again was still a little bit smaller than I thought it might be. So for the race, I really don't know what's going to happen here if I'm completely honest. So we'll head into the race now then, and I hope they can give me a bit of a battle. Hopefully I don't get the launch off the line, but I guess we'll have to see. So we'll head into the race now then. I'll see you down on the grid. So then here we are down on the grid for the French Grand Prix, looking at Marco Bezzecchi in 3rd position. And honestly, I'm actually not sure what tyre compound to go with, because as you can see, it is cloudy conditions, which are the same conditions we had in free practice. And on the medium tyres, I was actually a bit slower than the AI, so I'm not sure whether to go for the soft tyres in this scenario. I think the soft is the recommended tyre. It felt really good in qualifying, but I'm just not sure if it's going to last. If you look at the tyre we have got, I'm just not sure if it's going to actually make it to the end of the race, if you know what I mean. Like, it's going to be tough to nurse a soft tyre. How many laps have we got? I think we've got probably maybe about 7 laps. But I just feel that the soft tyre would be a mistake. So I might go with the mediums. Again, that might be a mistake in itself with it being so cool. Although the medium rear is what's being recommended. So I'd rather go medium. Maybe soft on the front would actually make the bike a bit more stable, but honestly, the stability's been pretty good this weekend, just like it was in Jerez, so I've not actually got that much of a problem with it. So I'm fairly happy to go with the medium combination. But without any further ado then, let's get this race started. It could be a crazy one. It could be one of those ones where the tyre choice does hamper me a bit and the AI are a bit closer, because in free practice, they already proved to me they're way quicker than I thought they were going to be, so this could be anybody's race yet.
It's the French Grand Prix and all the riders are lined up on the grid. In a few moments, the lights will go out and the Le Mans race will begin.
So it's the Ducati front row lockout with the Ducati in 4th place as well. So top 4, all Ducatis here. The lights are on, waiting for them to get here at Le Mans. Lights out and away we go. It's been a pretty decent start, but Bagnaia was even better. Bagnaia overtakes us on the run into turn 1 and he cuts across us a little bit there. We've had to go on the green to avoid Bagnaia. We've lost a few places as we go to turn 1. Bastianini has rocketed into the lead. Bezzecchi's on our outside as well, so is Marini around the outside. We have to go on the green to avoid Marini, but oh, Bagnaia's down and we're stuck behind. Oh, we've been knocked off by Bagnaia. We've hit Bagnaia's bike. That's terrible. We've got back on the bike now, but that's awful. That's absolutely awful. That's not what we needed. We're down to 22nd place at the start of this race, with the track limits warning as well. But I tell you what, Bagnaia cut across us on the run into turn 2. We had to go onto the green to avoid him. And then Marini went around the outside. I perhaps overreacted a little bit, was just trying to avoid contact, went onto the green there, and then Bagnaia goes down. We couldn't avoid his bike. I tried to go to the left, but just wasn't able to avoid it. And down we went, so down to 22nd place we go. We've got one hell of a comeback ride now in a race where, to be honest, I don't think we had the pace anyway. Like, we might have had the pace to win, but not that much of an advantage over the AI. But I'm going to have to absolutely gun it now. I'm going to have to absolutely gun it. So we've just cut up to the back of the train now, not the inside we go. Oh, Francesco Bagnaia is going to have to move out the way a little bit for me there. That was risky on the curb as well. We've passed Bagnaia, so we're not last anymore. Up to 21st position, onto the green. Somehow that's not a challenge warning, actually, but fair enough, I'll take it. I do need a bit of luck in this race. And into the chicane, up the inside of Morbidelli, up the inside of Nakagami. Oh, we go to go as well. We've got to clip Nakagami, so sorry to Nakagami there, but we were alongside him, so we were entitled to a bit of room there. And up the inside we go of Raul Fernandez as well, into this right-hander. Again, a bit of contact. Oh, I am really being aggressive with AI, I do apologise, but I've got to carve my way through. And to be honest, you get alongside them, they're still turning than you anyway. So can we blast past Jean Mir? Here we are in the slipstream. Well, we're way too close for a slipstream, really. We're at 31.5 on that lap. Can we find a way past the Repsol Honda rider? We're going to go around the outside. Can we do it? Sort of crash behind, well, crash in front, sorry, for Luca Marini. And there he is on the left-hand side. He's rejoined us a few more riders down. We've picked up another chat limits 1 and they've rejoined into the path of quite a few riders there. We go between a few of them there. So up into 15th place, around the outside of Jack Miller there as well. So it seems like the AI are a bit bugged at that turn 3 because they seem to fall off there quite a lot. And into Museum, up the inside we go of Jack Miller on the KTM, the championship leader actually, if you don't forget. He goes back up the inside of us, but we should be able to get him on the run down towards Garage Fair, I would say, because they break very, very early for Garage Fair. Up the inside of Miller, up the inside of Quartararo, up to 13th place. Next up's Marc Marquez, then it's Alex Rins, and then it's Miguel Oliveira. Here we go down towards the chicane. I thought about going for it on Mark there, but sometimes it's better to just pick your battles. I'll maybe get him into the right-hander at the end of this straight, although to be fair, I got a terrible exit off the chicane. That's actually put me in a position to not do that. Tell you what though, Bastianini's cleared off, isn't he, from the lead, because he's 8.5 seconds ahead of me now, and he was only 7.5 when I fell off. I've now got 3 track limits warnings, so I do need to be careful here, because there's still a lot of the race to go, and I can only go on the green once more before I get a penalty. Because if I do it once more, well, twice more, and then I get a penalty. But I've only got one freebie left, is what I'm trying to say. So through La Chapelle then. Trying to get the cut back on Marquez, because I want to try and get him into Museum. Because that should allow me to get Rins on the run down towards Garage Vert. Not actually close enough at Museum to get Marquez. We should get him into Garage Vert. We might be able to get all 4 of these, actually. I'm going to have to risk a lot, but we might actually be able to get this whole pack into Garage Vert. I'm going to go for it. The inside. We're going to get 3 of them, so we're going to get up into 10th place at the side of Oliveira right at the end there. We should get Augusto Fernandez into the chicane as well, if I can just nail my braking point there. And then it's Jorge Martin ahead of him, and then we're looking at some good positions ahead of that. So we got the inside of Augusto Fernandez into the chicane. I've kind of messed up the braking a little bit there, but we have still got the position ahead of Augusto, so we're up into 9th place now. Next up is Jorge Martin, another Ducati colleague. We've got just over 3 laps to go as well, so we should be able to maybe get through some of these guys in front, but I don't know if we'll actually get to the front of the pack, unfortunately. Oh, it's been a massive crash! Oh, how have we got through that one? Unbelievable! We've got through, we're up into 5th place now. Johan Zarco just ahead of us. I'm not even sure who went down there. I think one of them was our teammate Alex Marquez. Martin, of course, was involved in that as well. I'm not sure who else was involved, but how did we get through that? That's unbelievable. This race has been so chaotic. I just cannot believe it. We're now almost 10 seconds behind the race leader. In fact, we are now 10 seconds behind the race leader. I tell you what, this has probably been the most chaotic career mode race we've had in a long, long time. Definitely the most chaotic one of this season. Oh, Zarco's now down as well. Oh, Zarco, what are you doing? Zarco's rejoined into the path of me there, and down goes Zarco. So now up to 4th place. I don't think we're going to get any more positions because we're 4 seconds behind Bez now in front because of all the chaos. It's a shame because I think we actually could have got the pace for the podium. Bastianini's fastest lap actually is better than mine, so Bastianini's pace might actually have been too good for us to win the race here today. But I think 2nd place would have been pretty much guaranteed, and perhaps even the win. If I'd been up the front with Bastianini, I perhaps would have been able to hold him back a bit. But I tell you what, we've had some terrible luck and some really good luck in this race. It's kind of balanced out. So here we are then into the penultimate turn. Enea Bastianini has dominated this race here at Le Mans. But we're going to come home in 4th place after one of the strangest races that I've ever had. So Bastianini wins the French Grand Prix then, 6.2 seconds ahead of Brad Binder in 2nd position. Bezzecchi in 3rd place, myself in 4th. Jack Miller ended up in 5th place. Johan Zarco in 6th. Paulo Spargaro in 7th place. 8th place Franco Morbidelli. 9th for Aleix Spargaro. 10th for Fabio Quartararo. 11th for Maverick Vinales. 12th for Jean Mir. 13th for Alex Rins. 14th for Luca Marini. And 15th for Jorge Martin. But what a crazy race that one was. I mean, there was the pile up at the first corner. There was Bagnaia swiping me off the start. So there was Marini coming around the outside of me, and I had to go on the green to sort of avoid him as well. So the AI were pretty aggressive off the start. Bastianini also dived it up the inside into turn 1. He really risked it, because I mean the fast turn 1. And he put his front wheel on the curb as well. I saw that front twitch a little bit as he went through. So fair play to Bastianini, because he risked it all and it paid off, and he avoided all the crashes behind. And just with the clear track, really did clear off. Honestly, I would have struggled to beat him. I think his pace was really, really good. I did try pushing a little bit, and there was a few laps where I kind of matched him. There was a few laps where I made inroads on him as well. I think had I been out the front with him, things would have been a bit different. I also probably could have pushed the braking zones a bit more, but since I was in a pretty good position and I wasn't going to catch sort of Bezzecchi and Binder, I knew that after a couple of laps this probably wasn't going to happen. I wasn't pushing on the limit because it wasn't worth risking a crash when I was in quite a good position compared to my championship rivals. But fair play to Bastianini either way, because like I said, he did risk it and he definitely deserves the victory. But I did briefly mention the championship then, so let's have a look at the championship standings. Jack Miller continues to lead 10 points ahead of myself in 2nd position. Enea Bastianini moves to the 3rd in the championship. Zarco remains in 4th, and Bagnaia moves down a few spots into 5th in the championship. Also worth noting that Alex Marquez has dropped down to 8th as well after he was the only retirement of this race. Obviously, his crash probably resulted in him having too much damage, so he probably couldn't remount on the bike. Looking at the Teams Championship then, that DNF has affected us quite badly. We've moved down to 3rd place in the championship. Ducati Lenovo now lead 107 points. But you can see it's so close. Red Bull KTM are in 2nd. They're 7 points separated the top 3 teams in the Teams Championship. That's how close it is. And the other guys, they're not too far behind as well. Prima Pramac only 23 points back, Monster Energy Yamaha only 28 points back. And how big the swings could be in a Teams Championship in a weekend, that is mighty close. So do not count any of the teams out yet. Even Tech 3 are not completely out of it yet with how crazy this season's been. They could go on a winning streak yet and catch back up to everybody. But finally, moving on to the Constructors Championship then, Ducati extend their lead to 37 points because once again, another victory for Ducati, still only dropped 5 points. I think the only time they haven't won the race was at Austin when Franco Morbidelli won. I think every other race they have won, and second place as well in that race behind Morbidelli. So only 5 points across these first 5 races is pretty good for Ducati. 37 points now clear of KTM in second place, Yamaha in third, Aprilia in fourth, and Honda just off the back in 5th position. Now with that race done, I'm actually having a little look at the replay, something that I used to do. I don't do it so much anymore because I know it takes up a long time off the video, but I actually do want to see some of those incidents throughout the race because they're absolutely crazy. So let's head into the replay and have a look at some of those weird incidents in the race. Now, for some reason, Bezecchi's bike is kind of corrupted. I don't know why that's happening, because of course in the race I think it was absolutely fine. But it seems for some reason in this replay, his bike is a bit corrupted. So I do apologise for that. If you've got sort of epilepsy or anything, I would recommend skipping forward from this section of the video because it may trigger something with it being like this. So if we look at ourselves off the start, Bagnaia jumps us off the start because he just veers left for like absolutely no reason, which forces me onto the green. And then unfortunately I actually drop back behind quite a few different riders there. Ignore Bezecchi's glitchy bike on the right hand side. You can see I actually dropped behind. I dropped behind Binder. I dropped behind both of the VR46 Ducatis. Obviously Bastianini, the race winner, and even very briefly behind Fabio Quartararo, I think. Obviously then we managed to sort of get a decent run into turn 2, and yeah, in fairness, I guess I kind of overreacted, but there was contact. I think maybe that's also steered my trajectory a little towards the green. I guess I'm just trying to be cautious not to get knocked off. And then, unfortunately for us, like, obviously I had a lot of time to react to that bike, but it just then moved towards me. And I tried to hit the brakes, because if I carried on going, I thought I was going to hit it, but then, unfortunately, I kind of hit it anyway. If we look from Bagnaia's point of view from the start then, so you can see he does move to the left. He's trying to open out the corner, to be fair, but he just has no regard for the fact that I'm still there. And that's Bastianini's fantastic move on him. So if we watch Bastianini on board from his point of view, you can see he's up the inside, he's risked quite a lot. And there he goes over that curb. I don't know how he's not crashed there. But pretty much a perfect start there from Bastianini. And I guess that's what they are doing wrong through that corner, is they're taking too much curb. We'll see it from Bagnaia in a second. They have too much curb with a lot of throttle. And as we're about to see from Bagnaia here, that's what happened. So he actually crashed very early. I thought he crashed a bit later in the corner. And that was his bike. Somehow he didn't retire, considering we actually hit into his bike quite hard. And then on lap 4, we have this slightly different incident, actually. See, Alex Marquez crashes on this second part of the curb there, right in the middle of the pack. Yeah, so Marquez goes down, Aleix goes into Marquez, Zarco escapes unscathed, and then we've got Polismagro going straight into it. And there's an even bigger pileup behind. All these guys got took out, so that's why Alex Marquez retired, because he got knocked off once again. And that's how Jack Miller got through everybody, because I remember looking behind me and seeing Jack Miller was behind me by like 2 seconds. And I hadn't seen him since like lap 1 when I dive bombed him for like 18th or whatever it was. So yeah, that's just, it's ridiculous. It just shows how bad the AI are. They all crash at the same corner and then they all just crash into each other. But with all those incidents looked at then, we'll head back to the Career Hub now then and end off the episode because wow, there was a lot of stuff to look at there. So we gained 8,400 reputation from that weekend, which takes us up to 263,000 exactly. As for the credits, a pretty good result for us there, with 4th position gets us 27,880 credits, which takes us up to 684,438. So here we are then, back in the Career Hub, and you can actually see we've got a notification on the headquarters because there's a new engine upgrade that we can put on. So I've put that on then, and that's going to take 4 weeks, so we'll advance forward to the next race now. Then we've actually got a few weeks off till the Italian Grand Prix in Mugello. And there we go then, up to week 23, only 1 week now left for both upgrades, so we should get those at the end of the next episode. But speaking of the end of the episode then, that brings this episode to a close, so I hope you guys have enjoyed that one. I went into Le Mans thinking this will be easy, this will be boring, but it certainly wasn't either of those things. I think had we had a normal race, I think we definitely could have come in with the 25 points there. It would have been difficult because Bastianini was looking pretty fast, And to be honest, I think the mediums might have been the wrong tyre choice. I think the softs may actually have lasted, and I think those might have been the right choice to actually bring us up to the pace. But it seems like once one AI gets out on their own, they're just a lot faster. Because you saw I was actually a lot faster than the AI when we were in the pack. Like, I was miles quicker than most of them. So Bastianini, for whatever reason, was really on a charge that day. But unfortunately for me, we of course had the incident with Bagnaia. Well, a couple of incidents. He cut across me initially, which obviously cost me a couple of positions. Then I kind of overreacted to Marini, to be fair. There was a bit of contact though, so I think that might have been what actually sort of forced me towards the green. I might have had to sort of release the brake and the steering just so I didn't lose the front. And then of course I couldn't avoid Bagnaia's bike. It was on the inside, so I sort of went to go to the left of it. Then it bounced towards the front of me, and I was just too close to it. Like, I probably could have maybe tried to veer to the left, but I thought I would have crashed, whereas I thought if I slammed on the brakes, I might have like sort of hit the bike, but not fallen off, because that sometimes is what happens in these games. But unfortunately on this occasion, I did fall off. It put me to the back of the grid, and to be fair, 4th place was a pretty good recovery from that one, so I'll absolutely take it. I'm actually in a good position in the championship now as well still. We gained more points on the championship leader, and the guys behind us lost a lot of points, so overall a pretty good race from us, even if it could have been slightly better. But like I said, I hope you did enjoy that one. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you all stay safe, and I shall see you in the next one.